Hi everyone, this is Josh Beetler with TalkingGuitarLessons.com, and in this video we're going to go over how to practice switching chords. Now, switching chords is something that a lot of early, intermediate, and beginner guitar players struggle with a lot. It's really frustrating because ultimately you're just trying to either play some songs or learn how to write your own songs or maybe just jam with some friends. But the problem is you lose time every time you go to switch chords. So I'm going to break it down into the three most important steps that you need to be able to do in order to start practicing chords correctly. Remember that depending on where you are or what your hand's aptitude for learning is, some people's fingers remember things faster than others. Just know that anyone can learn this from 6-year-olds to 75-year-olds that I've worked with. And it doesn't matter where you are in the process, there is a process. If you just follow it, you can get better, but you have to do it consistently and you have to do it and keep track of it. Okay, so the first thing you need to do, and this is going to sound like common sense, but you have to really know the chords. That means when I say C chord, you are not going, okay, where is a C chord? Even if it doesn't sound that great, the muscle memory needs to be there. So step one in learning how to switch chords is just having the muscle memory of the chords themselves. That means that you have taught the hand to try and find the chord with all of the fingers relatively at the same time. You're already through this phase where you're going, okay, this one's here, okay, now this one's here, okay, this one's here. That's step one. If you do not have the chords that you're trying to practice down yet, it's going to be very difficult to switch chords in time while strumming with the right hand, because now we've added a lot more into the process. So just know that step one is really memorizing the chords. And how do you do that? You put your hand on the chord, all the fingers at the same time, and then you put it down. You put your fingers on the chord all at the same time, and then you take your hands down. You do that over and over again until you can get it with relative ease. It doesn't matter what the chord sounds like at this point, because if you can't put your fingers in the right place, it's never going to sound right. So at least just try and get your fingers to be in the right spot. That's step one. Step two. Make sure that when you're actually switching chords, you focus more on keeping rhythm rather than getting the chord right. So what do I mean by that? We should assume that you're already past step one of memorizing whatever chords you're trying to switch from. So let's say it's C to G and then back. Now there's different versions of the G that some people like to do. I like to do this one. It sounds better in my opinion. So what you need to be able to do is count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice that I start switching right about when I say 3, because right now we're just trying to get to the new chord in time for beat 1. Also notice that I haven't actually really played anything. I'm just practicing a lot with the left hand, because the left hand has to memorize these chords or it's never gonna happen. The right hand does, or the picking hand I should say, does not help the left hand switch. Okay, so you have either some sort of drum beat or someone playing along with you, but it's 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, switch. 1. Now, even if your hand isn't there, you should still strum and still keep the rhythm and try to go. So this is an example of making a mistake but still practicing it correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Oh, that one was closer. I almost got the whole chord, but again, you're keeping rhythm. That's way more important. Now, that's step two. Now, let's say you've gotten that down, you can do it pretty well, but now you want to do it with more complicated strumming patterns, or rhythms is the best way of putting it. When you're working on doing that with complicated rhythms, you want to be able to do it right before beat 1. Most people try and go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And they try and do a split-second chord switch, and it causes them to hit the strings really hard over here. It just sounds really panicked. Instead, what you want to do is go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Notice I'm doing the switch when this hand is on its way back up. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Okay, that's really important. Now, if you start doing more complicated patterns, rhythms with the right hand, like 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. Notice that I still switch on when I say 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now the funny thing about this is that even though I'm hitting essentially all open strings, it sounds like garbage when I just do it by itself, but when you do it in the context of a song and you're just strumming right through it, the ear kind of misses it. So let me speed it up. I'm going to do that really loud so you can hear it, but again, it doesn't stand out when I'm doing this. 1, 2. So I'm hitting it extra hard so you can hear that I'm hitting all open strings, but now I'm going to make it more subtle. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 switch. You really don't even notice it, right? It's because I keep the song going, I keep the rhythm going. So remember to, step 1, you have to have the muscle memory down. If you can't do the chords without, if you haven't gotten to the point where you can do the chords without really having to stop and do it one finger at a time, then you're not there yet. You need to keep practicing the chord and getting the muscle memory down. And then if you have the muscle memory down, great, then practice switching on beat 4, so you have a whole beat, but you're still keeping the rhythm. And then when you can do those 2 chords that way, and you start doing more complicated patterns over here, then you would you'd switch chords on the and of 4, which is the upstroke right before you start the next chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the new chord. Okay, so I hope that helps you out with your chord switches. It will help a lot for learning songs, writing your own music, and jamming with people. It's really important that you get this down, and I really hope you enjoyed this lesson. This is Josh Beatler with Tom.